On the teenage assassin's first day at school, his identity was immediately seen through by a top-tier wealthy young master. But instead of exposing him, the young master commissioned him with a task: to take down all those thugs who tormented him daily like a dog, even stuffing him into sandbags as their punching bag. The payment would be 50,000 won for each thug defeated. Looking at the earnest young master before him, Kim Doyul wanted to refuse. But remembering that his father, who controlled the assassin organization, had cut off his living expenses, he could only accept this cheap commission. After confirming the targets, Kim Doyul single-handedly broke into the thug's den. A lackey saw a stranger enter their base and was about to question him, but was immediately knocked unconscious by Kim Doyul's punch to the jaw. The gang's second-in-command saw how arrogant this kid was, veins instantly bulging on his face. "Where did this mad dog come from? Don't you see whose territory this is?" As he spoke, he provocatively threw several punches at Kim Doyul's chest, but the next second, his fist was caught by a powerful hand. Just a light squeeze made the second-in-command howl in pain. Fearing for his life, he immediately turned and pointed at the boss, who was playing on his phone. "What's the point of bullying me? If you've got the guts, go one-on-one with our boss." Being betrayed by his subordinate in public made Park Kang-wook grind his molars in rage. As Kim Doyul delivered a heavy slap to the second-in-command's face, knocking him to the ground, he stepped over the crumpled body on the floor, looking down condescendingly at the ant before him. Seeing that even facing death, the guy kept cursing. Kim Doyul raised his hand and mercilessly punched him in the face. The struck Park Kang-wook immediately spurted blood, his face contorting. Feeling humiliated, he clenched his fists, wanting revenge. But Kim Doyul just tilted his head slightly and instantly dodged, then landed a heavy punch on his opponent's face. Before he could fall, another punch hit his face. Park Kang-wook's face was literally caved in. At this moment, Park Kang-wook was like a ball being toyed with by Kim Doyul, until he completely lost consciousness. Only then did Kim Doyul satisfyingly brush back his hair. "If you're not convinced, feel free to come find me anytime." With that, he successfully withdrew from this troublesome place. Such clean and efficient attacks not only completely stunned the young master, but also left the female thug Seol Mina utterly mesmerized. With the first target successfully dealt with, the young master struck while the iron was hot and arranged to meet Kim Doyul at a park. This time, the targets for revenge were the school's real power holders, a pair of judo twin brothers. The older brother, judo club captain Park Ju-young, the younger brother, vice captain Park Ju-dong. To become national athletes, the two forced Park Kang-wook to handle anything that might stain their academic records. Looking at these two mountain-like boys, Kim Doyul quietly calculated his battle plan. While Park Ju-dong, completely unaware of the approaching danger, was lewdly harassing a beauty. "Mina, want to try the pizza that Big Brother has tasted?" Seol Mina rolled her eyes. "Dead pig, I'm not your garbage can." Hearing this, Park Ju-dong was about to get angry, but suddenly saw someone charging at him. With a loud crash, the boy's knee hit his pig face directly. The huge pig head immediately fell backward as if weightless, toppling the bench along with it and vomiting non-stop. Witnessing his own brother getting beaten up, Park Ju-young angrily threw away his unfinished cigarette, roaring like a wild boar as he charged forward. But at this moment, Kim Doyul deliberately turned his face away when facing his attack. Park Ju-young looked confused. "What's going on? He was actively attacking us just now. Why isn't he fighting back now?" Suddenly a bad thought flashed through his mind. Could he have called for backup? Just as he was distracted, Kim Doyul turned around, clenched his fist and struck like lightning. With a bang, Park Ju-young's nose spurted blood, his fat face shaking uncontrollably. But it wasn't over yet. Next, Kim Doyul's foot shot out like a rocket toward his crotch, instantly detonating his most treasured little universe. In that moment, continuous heart-wrenching pig squeals echoed throughout the entire city, while Seol Mina on the side was so excited by the boy's many epic moments that she nearly fainted. If not for her best friend supporting her, she might have embarrassed herself in front of her male god. With the notification of 100,000 won being deposited, the second revenge was perfectly completed. The next day, Kim Doyul's punishment of the judo twins was made into flyers, with a bespectacled boy distributing them to every passing student. At this time, Kim Doyul not only wore a crown and cape with great fanfare, but was also carried around the school by two students for a parade. The young master leading the way explained that although you defeated the leaders, the remaining lackeys were still running wild. So these scumbags must know, if they dare to do bad things, Kim Doyul will personally come to punish them. This kind of high-profile propaganda was building hatred for Kim Doyul every second. But Kim Doyul himself stared intently at the money in his hands, expressing indifference, as long as there's payment. But while counting, he suddenly discovered that the young master had actually given him 100,000 won less. Yesterday, after dealing with the two blood-sucking stupid pigs, he had also taken out two of their followers, earning money for 2 extra heads. But unexpectedly, the young master refused to pay. "I only commissioned you to handle the twin brothers." Seeing this, Kim Doyul asked with a dark expression, "Isn't your family very wealthy? Paying another 100,000 won shouldn't be a problem for you, right?" Hearing this, the young master stopped in his tracks, his face full of shock. "How did you know?" Could it be that you approached me on purpose because of this from the beginning? Seeing the young master turning the tables on him, Kim Doyul was quite indignant. What are you talking about? Isn't it common knowledge throughout the school that your family is wealthy? And you were the one who approached me in the first place. So stop playing tricks. Hand over the remaining money, and I want extra charges for the parade costs. The young master, knowing he was in the wrong, changed his expression and smiled, guaranteeing he would pay every cent. On the other side, Seo Mina was holding Kim Doyul's flyer and acting like a lovesick fool, sighing to her best friend. How can there be such a perfect man? To this, her friend agreed, yeah, everyone is looking at your male god. Hearing this, the possessive Seo Mina stood up and roared, how dare you guys fantasize about someone else's husband? Then she rushed forward and snatched the flyer from the girl's hand, warning, if I catch you secretly looking at my husband's flyer again, it'll be a fight to the death, understand? After collecting all the flyers, only then did Seo Mina angrily return to her seat. At this moment, she saw her phone on the desk suddenly vibrate, discovering it was a threatening text from the perverted bastard Jang Hyun-woo. Seo Mina couldn't help but widen her eyes in bewilderment, but due to the other party's perverted nature, she still went to the appointment. On stage, Kim Doyul and the young master observed the dynamics below. Tonight their target was none other than Jang Hyun-woo. This person had won 3 consecutive amateur boxing championships, possessing physical fitness and perception far beyond ordinary people. He was one of Pi Jicheol's subordinates from Kyungil School, and also an executive of the 12 Nationals. But his most terrifying aspect was that once he targeted someone, he would use every means possible to make their life worse than death. Speaking of this, the young master warned Kim Doyul never to be careless and to retreat at any sign of trouble. But when he turned around, he discovered Kim Doyul had already disappeared. Downstairs, Jang Hyun-woo looked smugly at Seo Mina, who had come to the appointment. Mina, you finally came, but you're a bit late. Your good friends have already been beaten up by me, Seo Mina replied coldly. Ever since they were defeated by the transfer student, they're no longer my friends. Hearing this, Jang Hyun-woo laughed heartily. That's exactly why I can't give up on Princess Mina. He suddenly switched to simp mode, frantically rubbing his palms together, begging Mina to date him 3 times, licking his lips and guaranteeing he would make Mina fall completely in love with him. This perverted appearance made Seo Mina feel afraid. Just then, a bottle suddenly flew over. Sensing the approaching danger, Jang Hyun-woo quickly covered his head and crouched down to dodge the attack. Seeing this, Kim Doyul was quite displeased. It could have been finished in one go. What a pity. Just as he stepped forward to attack again, Seo Mina's fanatical gaze caught his attention. He turned to look at her, thinking, how do I keep running into this woman everywhere? Immediately, Kim Doyul's expression darkened. Could she be monitoring me? No wonder she always looks at me so strangely. Thinking this, he fiercely grabbed Seo Mina's face and warned, although I don't know what you're plotting, you're finished if you dare play tricks. But Jang Hyun-woo mistakenly thought Kim Doyul was harassing Mina, and jealousy instantly drove him mad. He angrily raised his fist, taking a step forward to sneak attack Kim Doyul. But suddenly, an unknown liquid flew over. Instinctively, he raised his arm to block. While wondering what that disgusting substance was, Kim Doyul's left leg had already struck viciously, and told him with murderous intent, that was my saliva I spat out when I got startled. In an instant, Jang Hyun-woo suffered 10,000 points of damage both physically and mentally. Coming to his senses, he disgustedly brushed off the liquid on his body, while Kim Doyul took the opportunity to grab an iron chair and smash it over, then used the same trick again and spat out saliva. With a smack, Jang Hyun-woo's jaw flew 2 meters away. Being toyed with twice in a row, his rage instantly maxed out. He reached out wanting to strangle Kim Doyul's neck and beat him to death on the spot, but his overconfident attack completely missed. At this moment, Jang Hyun-woo completely lost the chance to counterattack, as 4 ribs broke simultaneously. He was instantly in too much pain to breathe, helplessly kneeling on the ground sobbing. Once a prestigious thug boss who struck fear into hearts, he was now fragile and helpless before the assassin Kim Doyul. Looking down at the blonde on the ground, Kim Doyul originally wanted to recite the lines the young master had specially prepared, but finding he couldn't remember them, he had to warn Jang Hyun-woo in his own style. If you dare to bully others again and get in my way, be careful, or I'll dismember everyone you care about. At this moment, Seo Mina, watching from the side, felt her heart pounding, narcissistically thinking that everything Kim Doyul did was to protect her. News of Jang Hyun-woo from Kyungil School being beaten into hospitalization quickly reached the ears of Im Jong-bam, ranked 4th at Kyungil School. Hearing it was done by some bastard from Seokmun School where his subordinate Park Kong-wook was, he immediately headed to that school, swearing to properly discipline these trash who dared to challenge their superiors. After Park Kong-wook gathered all the thugs in the school, Im Jong-beom discovered there were many fewer members. Learning that the judo stupid pigs and lackeys had all been hospitalized, he immediately vented all his dissatisfaction on Park Kong-wook. Park Kong-wook clutched his stomach in pain, wondering why innocent him was always getting beaten by madmen in turns, but he also knew Im Jong-beom was someone he couldn't afford to provoke, so he immediately revealed that this was all the transfer students doing. Hearing that the culprit was actually a new student, Im Jong-beom smiled contemptuously, telling Park Kang-wook to quickly take him to find that bastard. Meanwhile, Kim Doyul and the young master were leisurely having a meal during break, but Kim Doyul seemed preoccupied, constantly thinking about that woman with the strange looks. Learning from the young master that she was called Seol Mina and was from the Shinram area, Kim Doyul became even more confused. He had never seen her at the assassin organization, but couldn't rule out his father sending her to monitor him. Suddenly, the young master asked which club he had chosen. Kim Doyul replied, "Animation Appreciation Club. I couldn't get into any other clubs." Hearing this, the young master was shocked. That place was the sacred ground for otakus. Handsome and popular guys like Kim Doyul were absolutely forbidden from entering. However, Kim Doyul noticed his fierce stare. "What are you glaring at me for? Looking for death?" Just as the young master was explaining, Im Jong-beom arrived with a group of people in an intimidating manner. Kim Doyul looked up and noticed something was wrong. Suddenly jumped up, charged forward straight toward the leader of the group. Seeing this, Im Jong-beom confidently assumed his attack stance. When Kim Doyul came close, he immediately threw a powerful punch. Unexpectedly, Kim Doyul easily dodged it with a ground roll. Then, under Im Jong-beom's shocked gaze, Kim Doyul completely ignored his existence. Running toward the approaching Seol Mina and her best friend, seeing her male god suddenly getting close to her face, Seol Mina instantly became so excited that she slipped, dragging Kim Doyul down with her. Kim Doyul angrily questioned, "What are you doing? Why are you always so much trouble? And why are you collecting my flyers? Could it be that my dad sent you?" But Seol Mina blushed after hearing this. "Your dad? Are you already telling your family about us?" Just then, Im Jong-beom from behind suddenly charged over. Just as he was about to stomp down hard, Kim Doyul quickly grabbed Seol Mina's arm, dodging the attack with a sideways roll at the last moment. Im Jong-beom's sneak attack completely enraged Kim Doyul. "You baldy, although I don't know what you want with me, but when I spared you earlier, you should have run away. Now even if you beg me, you have no way out." With that, Kim Doyul clenched his fist, preparing to deliver a fatal blow. But the disciplinary teacher suddenly appeared. The teacher raised his discipline stick and cursed fiercely, "What are you brats doing? Why are there students from other schools here?" Saying this, he was about to come over and find out which school they were from causing trouble. Seeing this, Im Jong-beom had no choice but to give up. Before leaving, he didn't forget to threaten Kim Doyul, "Just you wait. This isn't over between us." Just as Im Jong-beom was about to retreat with his subordinates, Kim Doyul suddenly delivered a fierce elbow strike from behind. The struck Im Jong-beom immediately collapsed. Witnessing all this, the young master was so scared he broke out in cold sweat, despair instantly enveloping him. "The small bosses haven't been dealt with yet, and now you're attacking the big boss. What are you trying to do?" Meanwhile, in a villa, a muscular man covered in fierce tattoos was pouring 200-degree boiling water on the exposed skin of the man across from him, then holding a burning cigarette toward the tied-up woman while saying, "I've been supporting you homeless people. And you repay my kindness by running away?" He aimed at her eyeball. Just as he was about to stab it in, his phone suddenly vibrated. Reluctantly, he had to let go of the woman to answer the call. The moment he learned that Im Jong-beom, the 4th ranked, had been beaten at Seokmun School, Im Jong-chan, ranked 2nd at Kyungil School, took a deep drag of his cigarette, quietly planting a seed of hatred in his heart. Afterward, Kim Doyul was being punished for fighting by cleaning toilets. The young master was extremely anxious, repeatedly saying, "The Im Jong-beom you just provoked is one of the 12 nationals himself. The 12 nationals are men who can get by anywhere in the country. The 12 most influential delinquent youths in the nation." But Kim Doyul thought they were just a bunch of small-time thugs, telling the young master to stop hindering him from cleaning toilets. But the young master still persisted. "Those guys will definitely seek blood revenge." Kim Doyul, seeing his cowardly appearance, couldn't help but retort, "Guys who haven't even cut off someone's arms and legs, what kind of cruelty is that? Besides, they started the trouble first. It's probably because you insisted I help deal with thugs that attracted this trouble. I'm not doing this kind of work anymore. Might as well go get a part-time job." As soon as he said this, the young master panicked. "Our hourly wage is higher here, plus there's severance pay." But Kim Doyul had made up his mind. "I told you to get lost." The young master was so scared by this terrifying expression that he shut his mouth. He walked home alone dejectedly. Ever since hiring the assassin Kim Doyul, his clothes were no longer stolen and worn by others. There were no more thumbtacks on his chair. And most importantly, he didn't get beaten up. But these good days would never come again. Suddenly, a thug put his arm around the young master's shoulder. "That's right. You're the friend of that kid from Seokmun School." The young master's eyes filled with terror, as if he had already anticipated what was about to happen. In a secluded parking lot, the young master knelt helplessly on the ground, not knowing what to do. Im Jong-beom touched his aching head, his face twisted as he demanded Kim Doyul's whereabouts. Seeing the young master being stubborn, he immediately kicked him hard in the face without a word, then put his hands on his hips and impatiently threatened him to call Kim Doyul immediately. Faced with this person's intimidation, the young master covered his bleeding nose, trembling as he took out his phone, but steeled himself and chose to call the police station instead. But his every move was being watched by the thugs behind him. The young master desperately covered his head, enduring the merciless beating from the thugs. When they finally finished venting, They suspiciously checked the young master's phone and found there really was no contact information for Kim Doyul. Im Jong-beom howled to the sky, "I've been waiting at the school gate, where did that cunning bastard go?" Then he angrily kicked the young master on the ground away, cursing as he led his subordinates in retreat. At this time, the oblivious Kim Doyul was interviewing for a part-time job at a fast food restaurant. But when the boss heard his hobbies were fighting, gun maintenance, and throwing darts, thinking this handsome young man might not be quite right in the head, he politely declined. "Our small shop doesn't have work that requires throwing darts." With that, he got up to go about his business. Suddenly, a fat guy with a phone claimed there was a cockroach in his burger, making his stomach hurt terribly. He was clearly a habitual scammer. Hearing this, the boss also skillfully took the fat guy's hand, speaking nicely about going inside to talk. Then he turned and told the cashier to get 300,000 won to buy the fat guy a drink, but the fat guy wanted to scam big this time, yelling that the boss was assaulting a minor, threatening to call the police. Just then, Kim Doyul accidentally bumped into his arm. Feeling provoked, the fat guy angrily turned around. Kim Doyul didn't want to meddle, but the other's rude stare really annoyed him. After dealing with the fat guy in 2 minutes, he happened to brush past Im Jong-chan. When the clueless Im Jong-chan walked into the fast food restaurant to check on his subordinates' results, he saw 2 people with their mouths stuffed full of fries lying motionless on the ground. Instantly, his expression became extremely ugly. Im Jong-chan thought it over, then suddenly realized he had just brushed shoulders with someone whose shoulder clearly had ketchup stains. Learning the truth, he immediately flew into a rage, roaring commands for his subordinates to immediately capture that bastard in the Seokman school uniform. At this time, Kim Doyul was worrying about not finding a daily wage job. Unexpectedly, he ran into the young master head-on. But seeing the person's appearance, Kim Doyul was quite surprised. "Who beat you up again?" But the young master smiled and said, "Thank goodness you're safe and sound." As he spoke, Im Jong-chan's subordinates caught up, arrogantly ordering Kim Doyul to get over here. Hearing flies buzzing in his ear, Kim Doyul quickly asked the young master, "The per-head fee hasn't changed, right?" After getting confirmation, Kim Doyul directly smashed a cola into the other's face, then grabbed the other's arm for an over-the-shoulder throw, heavily slamming him to the ground. Such terrifying combat power made the other thug's hair stand on end. Kim Doyul stylishly brushed back his hair. "There's performance bonus, right?" Afterward, the young master happily treated Kim Doyul to ramen. Regarding the performance bonus, he hadn't decided how much to give yet. But Kim Doyul opened his mouth wide like a lion, saying 5 million would be enough. "Because I'll destroy Kyunggal within a week." The young master had never heard such outrageous words, laughing until his stomach cramped. Kim Doyul didn't mind, instead asking, "As a rich young master, you could completely transfer to a private school without delinquents. Why you get beaten up every day? Don't your parents say anything when they see your injuries?" The young master explained plainly, "My parents are overseas." Kim Doyul understood, and could only advise, "Don't go around grinning after getting beaten up. That's exactly why people treat you like a fool." After thanking the young master for the specially prepared food, Kim Doyul turned and left. On the other side, Im Jong-chan looked at his subordinates, who had been sent to capture Kim Doyul, all lying on the ground beaten bloody like corpses. Angrily clenched his fists, instantly igniting a terrifying flame of revenge. At this time, Kim Doyul's extermination plan officially began. But Kyunggal wasn't an ordinary school. 90% of the students here had criminal records. Yet the school not only failed to strictly control them, but openly accepted bribes and condoned crimes. But this wasn't even the most serious problem. Pi Jicheol, a member of the 12 Nationals and Kyunggal's boss, had used force to unify Kyunggal's long-divided factions. Now he controlled Kyunggal to steal motorcycles, commit insurance fraud, extort restaurants, and other unscrupulous means of making money. Human lives in his eyes were like crushing an ant. The young master, hiding under a unicorn head mask, advised Kim Doyul to think carefully. But Kim Doyul was focused on playing with the toy gun in his hands, telling the young master to rest assured and quickly prepare the 5 million performance bonus. Soon, he finally encountered 2 thugs. Kim Doyul, without a word, fired a rubber bullet at the red-haired one, scaring him into wetting himself before knocking down the other, pressing the cold weapon against his forehead, with an extremely fierce expression threatening him to lead the way to Pi Jicheol. Along the way, Kim Doyul knocked down every thug who blocked him. The injured people scattered on the ground were seen by a Kyunggal teacher. A new female teacher wanted to call the police, but the old teacher told her to follow the principal's orders, not to interfere with student matters, as calling police would only bring trouble. At this time, the oblivious Im Jong-beom was collecting ill-gotten gains from his lackeys at their base. Suddenly, a subordinate rushed in panicking, stuttering that the bastard from Seokman school from yesterday had come. Seeing this, Im Jong-beom arrogantly led dozens of subordinates to meet the challenge, glaring fiercely and questioning how he dared to deliver himself to their doorstep. But when Kim Doyul raised his toy gun at them, they all got scared and covered their heads. But the gun was already out of rubber bullets. Being toyed within his own territory, Im Jong-beom was grinding his teeth in rage. But how could he be Kim Doyul's opponent? He was foolishly deceived by his feints again and slammed hard to the ground. Im Jong-beom had never suffered such a painful defeat. He had loved boxing since childhood and shown talent. With this skill, he often beat up upperclassmen everywhere. When other thugs tried to befriend him, he would turn around and beat them beyond recognition, even making them swallow wriggling earthworms alive. He was a born devil who naturally considered everyone else trash. At this moment, his pride was being mercilessly crushed bit by Kim Doyul. No matter how Im Jong-bam fought back, he would always be knocked to the ground, until both legs were disabled, making even simple walking difficult in the short term. In desperation, he turned to order his subordinates to help. But the thugs had long been scared stiff by Kim Doyul's terrifying combat power. Im Jong-bam could only crawl like a dog at Kim Doyul's feet. The only one who could save him, Im Jong-chan, was by sheer coincidence searching everywhere for Kim Doyul at Seokmun School. Just as he was calling for backup, the disciplinary teacher appeared again with his discipline stick, yelling for these outsiders to stop and demanding answers. Im Jong-chan didn't want to bother with him, but the disciplinary teacher's aggressive attitude really annoyed him. He had no choice but to walk menacingly toward him, taking the opportunity to pull out a sharp blade, directly stabbing it into the disciplinary teacher's chest. "Damn, old man, you put on that teacher lecturing student attitude, but you need to know who you're dealing with." As the teacher fell to the ground with a thud, Im Jong-chan breathed out in satisfaction, skillfully throwing the weapon to a subordinate beside him, unquestionably ordering, "And you're the one who stabbed him." Then Im Jong-chan had him confiscate everyone's phones and turn himself in at the police station to serve 2.5 years. In Im Jong-chan's kingdom, everyone had to unconditionally obey his commands. After giving orders, he led his remaining subordinates back to Gyeonggil. At this moment inside Gyeonggil, Kim Doyul kindly reminded Im Jong-bam that if he didn't want to be paralyzed for life, he must do proper rehabilitation. Hearing this, Im Jong-bam sneered. "Do you know who our boss is? He'll make you die miserably. So where is your boss, Pi Jicheol?" But as soon as he finished speaking, a foot suddenly kicked toward Kim Doyul. The young master was immediately scared out of his wits, even imagining how he and Kim Doyul would die. But unexpectedly, Kim Doyul had blocked the sneak attack with his arm in advance, his expression instantly turning vicious. "Are you Pi Jicheol?" Park Jinju, ranked third at Gyeonggil, was stunned for a moment, but quickly tore off his shirt, forcefully posing in a proud bullfrog shape. "That's right, I am Pi Jicheol." With that, the two immediately engaged in a deadly battle. Facing this kind of muscle-bound brute with natural armor, Kim Doyul changed tactics, using disinfectant to obstruct the opponent's vision, then taking the opportunity to swing a rag to his forearm, easily hitting his most vulnerable head. This one-sided battle left Park Jinju very frustrated. Just as he was building up strength, trying to end the fight quickly, a school uniform suddenly flew over, perfectly covering his body. Caught off guard, he was kicked hard by Kim Doyul and sent flying. After rolling several times, Park Jinju leaned against the wall, his whole body shaking uncontrollably. Kim Doyul looked at the completely defeated muscle man before him, proudly brushing back his hair. Gyeonggil is completely finished. Then he told the young master to quickly prepare 5 million in cash, no transfers accepted. The young master was at a loss for words, only able to explain that the other person wasn't Pi Jicheol. But Kim Doyul didn't believe it. That person had clearly admitted he was Pi Jicheol. When leaving, he still warned the young master not to make trouble and to pay up quickly. Heavy rain poured from the sky. Im Jong-chan was still a step too late. Faced with this humiliation, he wished he could tear Kim Doyul apart on the spot. At the same time, inside an inconspicuous ship, several injured people hung upside down. As the perpetrator sat by the window enjoying the rainy scenery, a phone call broke the silence, every word revealing Kim Doyul's crimes against Gyeonggil. Kim Doyul still believed that the person he defeated yesterday was Gyeonggil's boss Pi Jicheol, enjoying his meal at the table in good spirits. At this time, the young master learned from classmates that Im Jong-chan had hospitalized the disciplinary teacher yesterday while looking for Kim Doyul. Out of guilt, he suggested visiting the hospital together. Before Kim Doyul could answer, Seol Mina appeared out of nowhere all dressed up, saying she wanted to go together. Then she automatically filtered out the young master's questions, excitedly greeting Kim Doyul. Not long ago, to get close to her male god, she gave up the most popular movie appreciation club and exchanged with an otaku girl to become a member of the animation appreciation club. But just as she was overjoyed, a toy gun suddenly pointed at her head. Kim Doyul intended to use this method to drive Seol Mina away, but a chubby boy nearby was a gun enthusiast and was instantly attracted, saying he'd pay 2,000 won to touch it. It eventually turned into everyone paying to queue up just to touch the gun. After the farce ended, the young master carried gifts with Seol Mina to the disciplinary teacher's ward. Originally, Kim Doyul should have appeared together, but because he was being punished for cleaning toilets, he would rather climb onto the windowsill and jump from the 3rd floor than go visit the sick. Seol Mina was very displeased. She came for Kim Doyul, but now her plan had completely fallen through. The young master was speechless, not wanting to argue with this unreasonable woman. He went to look for the hospital room on his own. Just as he was about to pull open the door, he heard his teacher's wife sobbing from inside the room. The couple had been through thick and thin together for 20 years, so she naturally understood her husband's decision to discharge early for his students. But what really worried her was that all those suppressed emotions might cause her husband to develop heart problems. Just then, Kim Doyul appeared in the hospital corridor. That day, when he was punished to clean the toilets, the discipline teacher had earnestly advised him, "I heard you live with your mother and younger brother, so you're the head of the household now. Even if you don't study hard, at least don't cause trouble. With that, he handed over a piece of paper with his contact information. Kid, call me when you need an adult. Then he thoughtfully straightened Kim Doyul's clothes and encouraged him to be an upright man. Thinking about this, Kim Doyul didn't dislike the discipline teacher so much anymore and decided to just drop off the drink and leave. But as he turned the corner, he saw the rich boy and Seo Mina standing straight outside the hospital room. At that moment, the discipline teacher was covering his tears that were streaming down his face. I really lost all face. As a teacher, not only did I fail to protect my students, but I was also stabbed by a teenager young enough to be my son in front of them. I have no face to see them. The guidance counselor's heart-wrenching cries echoed outside the room, striking the hearts of the 3 teenagers one by one. This was destined to be a restless, rainy night. In another luxurious villa, Im Jong-chan buried his head and knelt before a long-haired man. Due to extreme fear, he couldn't stop his body from trembling. Then he kept kowtowing. I deserve to die, boss. If you give me one chance, I will definitely catch that guy no matter what. But the long-haired man said that mistakes must come with consequences. Hearing this, Im Jong-chan screamed hoarsely. I'm willing to accept any punishment you give me, boss. I will definitely take responsibility. As his words fell, a pair of scissors dropped down. The long-haired man leaned forward slightly. Good. 10 million within a week, and leave your left ear. Also, you have 3 days to bring Kim Doyul here. Im Jong-chan didn't dare to complain. In front of boss Pi Jicheol, he was as humble as a speck of dust. Meanwhile, Kim Doyul, completely unaware of this, was at the arcade with the rich kid and Seo Mina to relax. After Kim Doyul became absorbed in training on the shooting game, Seo Mina deliberately excluded the rich kid to create alone time for herself and Kim Doyul. Eventually, unable to bear staying any longer, the rich kid angrily turned and left. But just as he reached the entrance of his residential complex, he was horrified to discover a group of thugs waiting there. He wanted to sneak away unnoticed. But Park Kang-wook, who used to bully him frequently, suddenly shouted, "That's him! Kim Doyul's lackey!" After being brutally beaten, the rich kid collapsed weakly against the wall. A nearby thug worried that if they continued like this, the guy would pass out before they could find out Kim Doyul's whereabouts. Hearing this, the leader Im Jong-chan pulled out a fruit knife and threatened, I even dared to stab your teacher, you better cooperate with me. You just need to trick Kim Doyul into coming here and it's over. You'll have to call him sooner or later anyway. The rich kid hung his head, breathing weakly. Terrible childhood memories surfaced again, his father pointing at the young rich kid. You useless thing. Who do you take after with this pathetic behavior? The stupid things you do are exactly like your mother. Coming back to his senses, he heard Im Jong-chan continue to mock him as a cowardly fool. The rich kid couldn't help but retort, I'm not a fool. As soon as the words came out, Im Jong-chan almost doubted his own ears. But unexpectedly, the rich kid suddenly raised his head and said resolutely, You guys are the real idiots. Im Jong-chan immediately squinted his eyes and let out a harsh, mocking laugh, then quickly slashed across his face with the knife. The rich kid was completely stunned, not realizing what had just happened. But the next second, piercing pain shot through his face, and he let out a miserable scream. Worried about attracting trouble, Im Jong-chan immediately covered the rich kid's mouth. He warned furiously, You bastard! Don't think just because I spoke nicely to you for a moment that you can push your luck. But unexpectedly, the rich kid, who never dared to resist, actually fought back and grabbed his arm firmly. Im Jong-chan was amused by his anger. What a waste who can't understand human speech! With that, he suddenly pulled out his other hand and viciously slapped the rich kid's cheek 20 times, until he completely passed out. Only then did Im Jong-chan curse and get up to leave. Then he ordered his subordinate. When that guy wakes up, even if you have to tear his mouth apart, you must find out Kim Doyul's whereabouts. Rain washed over the rich kid's burning cheeks, watching the perpetrators leave as if nothing had happened after doing bad things. He mustered his last bit of strength to say words he had never dared to say before. You're the ones doing wrong. But why are we who get bullied called idiots? You guys are the strangest people. If only you didn't exist, nothing would happen. Under Im Jong-chan's angry and incredulous gaze, the rich kid finally screamed with all his might, You guys are the idiots. Large raindrops pounded the ground. Im Jong-chan was silent for 2 seconds. Then with a flash, he brandished his blade, his eyes full of blood as he turned to the rich kid and said, Are you having a Chunabu episode? You seem particularly self-absorbed right now. With that, he knelt on one knee and grabbed the rich kid's scalp tightly, raising the blade to stab viciously toward his eyes. But unexpectedly at this critical moment, a subordinate nearby suddenly shouted, Boss, that kid who bullied us at the fast food restaurant is here. Im Jong-chan stiffly twisted his neck to turn around, and saw his arch-enemy Kim Doyul standing right behind him. While he was stunned, Kim Doyul picked up the broken phone from the ground. He asked the rich kid, Who did this? Then he turned and saw his favorite spicy pork scattered all over the ground. Kim Doyul's expression instantly turned cold. He swept back his hair, vowing to teach these bastards a good lesson. At this moment, unaware of the approaching danger, Im Jong-chan grinned wickedly. Nice to meet you, Kim Doyul. But before he could finish speaking, Im Jong-chan felt a sharp pain in his body. Kim Doyul had struck him hard without him noticing at all. Im Jong-chan simply couldn't accept this outcome. He was once the one who bloodily swept through the legendary runaway gang at age 12. Revered by the world as the ghost god Im Jong-chan, how could he possibly fall to some unknown nobody? Refusing to believe it, he immediately leaped forward to attack. But no matter what cunning and bizarre moves he used, Kim Doyul could accurately predict and easily dodge them all. Im Jung-chan's eyes were bloodshot with rage. Just then, he finally saw Kim Doyul's movements clearly. But unexpectedly, the speed was so fast that he couldn't dodge the incoming fist at all. In an instant, Im Jung-chan flew backward, and after staggering to the ground, his face bulged with veins as he roared maniacally, "What the hell did you do to me, you bastard?" But he used too much force, causing his already severely injured ribs to burst. In that moment, excruciating pain swept through Im Jung-chan's entire body. Watching the nearly insane Im Jung-chan, Kim Doyul asked if he wanted to know the reason. As he spoke, he beckoned with his finger. "It's because you haven't been beaten enough. Come here and continue getting beaten." These words made Im Jung-chan jump with rage, gathering all his strength in his right leg, swearing to get brutal revenge. But unsurprisingly, he missed again, which also gave Kim Doyul an opportunity. He landed a left hook straight to his head, and as he was about to fall, Kim Doyul followed up with a flurry of punches. Seeing that Im Jung-chan could still stand after being beaten so badly, Kim Doyul couldn't help but admire, "You're pretty good at taking hits. What a nice human punching bag. Great, I can keep beating you." With that, he beckoned with his finger. "Where should I start? Tell me, I'll consider your suggestion." At this moment, Im Jung-chan was dizzy and had no idea what he was saying. When he came to his senses, Kim Doyul was already swinging his fist toward him. In that instant, a familiar scene appeared in Im Jung-chan's mind. Back then, even though he knew the opponent would shoot, he simply couldn't block or dodge their fist. Thinking of this, Im Jung-chan burst into tears, trembling all over as he collapsed to the ground. Watching Kim Doyul emanate a terrifying aura, it was exactly like when he first met that person. In an instant, all his hair stood on end. This confusing behavior left Kim Doyul scratching his head. Although he didn't know what Im Jung-chan was up to, Kim Doyul simply kicked hard toward his chin, first giving him a shattered jaw fracture. The rich kid watched in stunned silence. Kim Doyul really did like Im Jung-chan as a human punching bag. Meanwhile, at the Tiger faction's headquarters of the runaway gang, the hallway was littered with severely injured thugs lying everywhere, while a long-haired man leisurely ate instant noodles, facing a blood-covered bald strongman. The long-haired man suddenly stabbed chopsticks into the man's arm. Seeing him roll his eyes in pain, he leaned down and said politely, "So you agree to join us? All right, have a wonderful day." With that, he turned and left efficiently. Just then, a subordinate said Im Jung-chan kept calling, wondering if there was some urgent matter. Hearing this, the long-haired man extended his hand, took the phone, put it to his ear to answer, and a stranger's voice came through. "Are you Pi Jicheol?" The long-haired man was stunned, completely unable to guess who was on the other end. Kim Doyul calmly reminded him, "Weren't you looking for me?" The long-haired man suddenly understood, revealing a meaningful evil smile. At 16, Pi Jicheol was a minor, because his brother kept crying. He actually gave his brother a full-body spa with 200-degree boiling water. After being imprisoned, Pi Jicheol learned a truth from prison TV reports. Not all criminals in this world pay for their evil deeds. As long as you have money and power, you can toy with others' lives at will. This also helped him find his ultimate life goal, to become a god who could decide others' life and death. After being released, Pi Jicheol immediately went to find his brother. He absolutely would not allow anyone similar to himself to exist in the world, even though his brother was already disfigured. Because as a god, he was inviolable. So this time, Pi Jicheol sent a top expert with a 9th-degree black belt in Taekwondo to fight Kim Doyul. But unexpectedly, the top expert was kicked out the window by Kim Doyul and fell hard from the 4th floor. Seeing him stand up completely unharmed, killer Kim Doyul stepped onto the windowsill, leaped down and landed steadily in front of the man. This time, Jung Hae-jae didn't attack rashly, but secretly calculated a new strategy. As long as he could grab the opponent, no matter how fast their attack speed, he could turn the tables. Thinking this, Jung Hae-jae immediately stepped forward to attack, not missing any opportunity to possibly capture his opponent. Just when he finally grabbed a corner of clothing, unexpectedly Kim Doyul fell toward the ground to avoid his pull, supporting his body with both hands, while both feet kicked heavily toward his chin and abdomen respectively. Jung Hae-jae angrily wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. He was a man specially chosen by that person, and would never lose to such trash. Then he used all his strength to fight back. As long as he could grab one of the opponent's arms, forcefully grip the back of his neck, while his right leg locked his lower back, that person would be completely subdued by his ultimate killing move. But Jung Hae-jae never expected that. Just as he was about to lift his leg to lock the waist, Kim Doyul instantly adjusted his body's tilt angle, completely dispersing the force directed toward the ground. Jung Hae-jae was confused. How could such trash know this kind of professional level technique? Then, the 200-pound man was caught off guard and lifted by Kim Doyul with bare hands, headfirst and slammed hard to the ground. Jung Hae-jae was instantly terrified and lost all ability to move. At this moment, only one question remained in his mind. What exactly was this kid's background? Subversive technique and subversive power level actually existed in one person simultaneously. He knelt on the ground trying to beg for mercy. Kim Doyul looked down expressionlessly at the bastard before him, recalling the rich kid's words before departure. "You don't know how secure I feel with you around. Even if you don't have a sense of mission, it doesn't matter. No matter how much money, I'll give it to you. So can you genuinely think about us who get bullied? Please, Thinking of this, Kim Doyul immediately raised his foot and struck Jung Heza violently. Watching the bastard on the ground completely motionless, Kim Doyul felt an indescribable feeling. As a cold-blooded killer, he was actually striking someone deadly for an ordinary student for the first time. But just then, urgent police sirens brought him back to reality. He saw two police officers pointing guns at him. Kim Doyul calmly turned around, his brain rapidly searching for countermeasures. But then a long-haired man suddenly rushed over and picked up a brick to instantly knock down one officer, then took advantage of the other's shock to leap in front of him with another brick. After resolving this, Pi Jicheol handsomely swept back his long hair, turning to look at Kim Doyul with a grin. Violence is such a convenient thing, right? I really don't know why such a good thing is prohibited by law. With that, he spread his arms and walked toward Kim Doyul. I don't know why, but you give me a feeling of kinship. Let's be friends. How about it? We have such powerful strength and should get benefits. Why did the thug boss from Country B's Chongta Turtletail say money makes violence legitimate, and violence brings money? As long as you're with me, Kim Doyul looked at the madman before him and coldly reminded, the thug boss from Chongta Turtletail is dead. I killed him. With that, he rushed forward for a fierce strike, but Pi Jicheol blocked it with his arm in advance, arrogantly asking again, you really don't want to be friends with me? Kim Doyul looked at this madman who couldn't understand human speech and felt helpless, so he swept back his hair and said bluntly, why do you ask again? Bastard, how troublesome. But Pi Jicheol still kept talking about how unique he was. Kim Doyul's ears were getting calloused from listening. He quickly cleaned them with his pinky, then suddenly lifted his foot to attack. After 2.5 moves, both stopped midway. Pi Jicheol asked in bewilderment, how can you act before me? Kim Doyul replied frankly, are you brain damaged? Of course, because I'm faster. Though I'm also a bit surprised. I haven't seen someone at your level for a long time. Are you really an ordinary person? Hearing this, Pi Jicheol stood frozen in place. For so long he had fought countless people, but this kind of experience was a first. Kim Doyul impatiently reminded, if you keep talking to yourself like this, don't bother talking to me. But as soon as he finished speaking, Pi Jicheol swung his fist and charged forward. But this time Kim Doyul stood completely still. Pi Jicheol was confused. Suddenly Kim Doyul dodged the attack and crouched low. You copycat, copying my moves without knowing how to innovate. With that, one punch sent Pi Jicheol flying backward. The beaten Pi Jicheol didn't get angry but laughed, then became more determined with each setback. For a moment the two fought intensely. And then Kim Doyul suddenly discovered that as the battle continued, Pi Jicheol's strength, resistance to damage, speed, and all other abilities significantly increased, especially his speed talent. He didn't expect to encounter such a guy domestically. But compared to such fast attack speed, Pi Jicheol's attack patterns were too simple and could be seen through at a glance. He used 3 consecutive left hooks as setup, hiding his real killing move in his right hand too shallow. But Kim Doyul never expected that the opponent's killing move was still a left hook. With a clang, Kim Doyul flew backward with Pi Jicheol's punch. Thinking he had finally defeated Kim Doyul, Pi Jicheol showed a victor's smile. Nothing can stop me. Residing at the highest position is my destiny. But suddenly his expression became extremely terrified. Kim Doyul had actually caught his fist firmly. Pi Jicheol couldn't believe it, his bloodshot eyes full of anger. Kim Doyul spoke coldly, you're indeed not ordinary, but you're just following conventional standards. Then his palm squeezed hard, making the fist swell red. Pi Jicheol had never been humiliated like this, but after Kim Doyul delivered a palm strike, his right eye instantly went blind. Before he could understand what happened, Kim Doyul delivered the final deadly blow. In that instant, Pi Jicheol's entire world fell into darkness, and a rope slowly descended, announcing the end of his era. Taking a photo of Pi Jicheol's miserable state, Kim Doyul immediately sent it to his employer to demand the 5 million reward. The wealthy young master was very satisfied upon receiving the photo. Now that the thug boss had finally fallen, he and his friends could finally escape bullying and live relaxed lives. On their way home, the rich kid knew that relying on external force wasn't a long-term solution. To eliminate the thug organization at Stone Street School next, he begged Kim Doyul to teach him various fighting techniques. But in the next second, Kim Doyul suddenly caught a baseball flying at high speed, and the person who threw it was exactly their target, the 5th-ranked thug from Stone Street School. After Kim Doyul roughly estimated the number of people, he hurled the ball toward the thug's foul mouth. The 200-pound strongman instantly fell backward, and his upper teeth flew out too. Seeing their boss bullied by someone from Seokmun's school, the lackeys immediately pulled their clothes aggressively and stepped forward to warn, "Are you crazy? Can't you see we're wearing Stone Street School uniforms?" But as soon as they finished speaking, a gun was pointed at his head. Then with a bang, his forehead was instantly hit by a rubber bullet, creating a big bump. A nearby blonde was furious, never expecting this guy to actually have a gun. He clenched his fists tightly and charged forward, determined to teach the sneaky bastard a lesson, but was caught off guard and tripped by Kim Doyul. Kim Doyul then grabbed the blonde's neck tightly, dragged him along, then pressed his head hard against the wall, followed by crazy rubber bullet shots at his ribs. The intense pain made the blonde keep begging for mercy. Kim Doyul glanced at this coward and gave him another free rubber bullet. At this time, a thug who had been lying on the ground for 2.5 minutes finally stood up, hands on his hips, shouting through his gap-toothed mouth, "Did Pi Jicheol send you to deal with me?" But Kim Doyul said he didn't know him at all. The thug was furious. To treat him like this without even knowing him, he wanted to kill him. But when he saw the opponent suddenly pull out a gun, he was immediately scared stiff, and was once again sent flying. He couldn't figure out why anyone would dare to mess with Stone Street Academy. In the following 2 months, the rich kid began intensive training according to Kim Doyul's specially designed plan. Kim Doyul became a devil coach, constantly supervising the rich kid. At this time, Park Jinju, the muscle man he had previously beaten, was attentively holding a small fan while saying, "Big brother, don't you feel hot?" Kim Doyul felt uncomfortable with this form of address. "Uncle, don't always call me big brother. Didn't you say you were 20? How exactly did you transfer from Kyungil school?" Park Jinju smiled wisely with a crooked mouth. "Wherever big brother is, I'll follow you no matter where. Don't feel pressured. Age doesn't matter. Isn't it natural law for the strong to become the big brother? Admiring the highest peak is a man's instinct. I used to mistakenly think Pi Jicheol from Kyungil school was the highest mountain in the world. But through you, big brother, I learned that there are even more magnificent mountains in this world." Hearing this, Kim Doyul disdainfully picked his ear. He had clearly threatened that corrupt police officer who was in cahoots with thug organizations long ago, telling him to thoroughly investigate Kyungil school's illegal activities over the years. Now the second-in-command Im Jong-chan and fourth-in-command Im Jong-beom were both arrested, so why was the third-in-command Park Jinju still fine outside? Thinking this, Kim Doyul immediately messaged the corrupt officer to inquire. But the other party said that what Park Jinju did was at most giving someone a lesson, and no matter how much they investigated, they couldn't find any problems. He had no involvement in the illegal activities the gang members did. He was just a maniac who only liked building muscle. "Please accept me, big brother. I, Park Jinju, will serve you for life." Faced with the big guy's sincere declaration of loyalty, Kim Doyul had to accept him. At this time, Seo Mina suddenly appeared coquettishly, hinting madly at Kim Doyul. "Why did it suddenly get so hot? Is anyone willing to wipe my sweat?" Hearing this, straight man Park Jinju quickly raised his hand. "I'm willing. What should I use to wipe? Can I use my hands?" Seeing her plan ruined, Seo Mina instantly flew into a rage and punched Park Jinju's abs. "Get lost, you pervert." Watching this comedy unfold, Kim Doyul suddenly felt that killing them all and going abroad might bring him much more peace. At this time, the rich kid had been squatting in horse stance for an hour. He desperately asked Kim Doyul how much longer. Hearing there were 3 minutes left, the rich kid felt he was definitely being tricked by Kim Doyul. Then he asked suspiciously, "These 2 months you've only made me do physical training and lower body workouts, without teaching any fighting techniques. Has my fighting level really improved?" But Kim Doyul said unquestionably, "Shut up. Do what I tell you to do." Finally, on the day the rich kid's training perfectly concluded, Kim Doyul officially launched the plan to eliminate Stone Street School. And this time, he demanded the reward be increased to 6 million. After all, eliminating Stone Street School was far more difficult than Kyungil School. Anyway, having a stumbling block like you as my teammate, acting together with me would undoubtedly increase the difficulty. The rich kid was shocked. "Fine about adding money, but didn't I train desperately according to your requirements these 2 months? Since you trained hard, then prove to me that you're not a stumbling block." Now the strongest in Sequin School is Park Kang-wook. Go defeat him today and become the new school boss. The rich kid was confused. "Isn't the boss you? I'm world class. What does Sequin School amount to? If you complete this task, I'll make Stone Street disappear from the face of the earth within a week." Soon, news that the rich kid was going to fight Park Kang-wook spread throughout the school. Everyone thought he had finally gone crazy from staying with Kim Doyul too long. A crowd quickly rushed to watch the fresh drama unfold. Seeing the rich kid he had always bullied now daring to publicly challenge him, Park Kang-wook was extremely displeased. After knocking him down with one punch, he roared, "What are you being arrogant about, you fool?" But to everyone's shock, the rich kid actually got up again. Seeing this, Park Kang-wook hit his abdomen again. But even in extreme pain, the rich kid still staggered to his feet, wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth. Even with only one eye able to open, he still stared fiercely at his opponent. Park Kang-wook gritted his teeth. What an unreasonable and troublesome fool. With that, he clenched his fist tightly and charged forward, hitting the rich kid's cheek hard. The rich kid fought back with all his strength but was mocked for having fists slow as death. Then he received Park Kang-wook's deadly blow, directly being thrown far away. As the rich kid's good friend, the glasses-wearing boy was too worried to speak. He had long known the rich kid was learning to fight from Kim Doyul. To stop always relying on Kim Doyul, the rich kid said he had to take this difficult step. But the glasses boy thought Kim Doyul was naturally a formidable character, while he and the rich kid were destined to be bullied for life. He didn't expect the rich kid to actually struggle against fate. This time he stood up again, stubbornly and steadily assuming an attack position. Park Kang-wook was startled. How could someone who could barely stand still want to continue, and dare to glare at people with those eyes? Park Kang-wook was completely enraged. "Looks like I need to make this fool understand that you can't solve everything with just fighting spirit." With that, he used all his methods to brutally beat the rich kid. Even when he fell to the ground, he kept kicking wildly, until the other lay on the ground motionless without the strength to get up. Only then did he gasp heavily and wipe away his rolling sweat. Then he pushed through the crowd, cursing as he prepared to leave. But Park Hang-wook never expected the rich kid to stand up again, roaring, "You bastard! Where are you running to?" He was stunned. How could someone beaten half to death recover so quickly? Was this kid some kind of unkillable zombie? Park Hang-wook refused to believe it and attacked again. But this time, after being hit, the rich kid didn't fall, but showed a triumphant smile, and began his real counterattack. Until now, Park Hang-wook still hadn't realized he had fallen into a trap. When he was lured into completely wasting his precious stamina, the rich kid took the opportunity to launch a fierce offensive, quickly dismantling Park Hang-wook's remaining stamina and willpower. Finally, he became a human sandbag, experiencing hellish torture. But even so, Park Hang-wook still used technique to severely damage the rich kid's body. Just when the rich kid was about to break down, he remembered Kim Doyul's unconditional trust in him, and years of suffering from bullying. Instantly, he reignited his passionate fighting spirit, fiercely raising his fist, returning all his accumulated hatred to the enemy who had tormented him. Although he couldn't become someone like Kim Doyul, being himself was enough. Thus, Park Hang-wook, who had dominated Seokmun School for years, finally fell. Former partners cheered and rushed toward the rich kid. This moment was not only the rich kid's victory, but also the victory of all those who had been bullied. The rich kid was proudly carried on his friend's shoulders. He who had always been bullied really became the school's new boss. All the humiliation turned into tears of excitement. He had personally rewritten his own destiny. Now that the rich kid had proven his strength, Kim Doyul immediately fulfilled his promise and officially entered the phase of eliminating Stone Street Academy. But he didn't know he had also been noticed by Stone Street Academy members. A man in black asked his subordinate if this Kim Doyul was the legendary person who defeated Pi Jicheol. The lackey explained that although someone saw it, all nearby surveillance was broken, so it was likely a rumor. The man in black smiled upon hearing this. Pi Jicheol was indeed beaten into paralysis, but his downfall was very likely related to the National Alliance. Then he disdainfully threw away the poster. How could those idiots from Seokmun School possibly defeat Pi Jicheol? There are really bastards everywhere who lie for their own benefit. With that, he kicked open the iron door in front of him with a clang, looking at a group of weak chickens. He said authoritatively without anger, "You dare use our boss's name to do business. Looks like you're tired of living." The redhead held a baseball bat, trembling all over, frantically ordering his subordinates to charge together. But the man in black didn't take these lackeys seriously at all, defeating them in just a few moves. As Stone Street School's second-ranked Jang Chunsik, his cruelty rivaled that of the psychopath Pi Jicheol, but he also made a fatal mistake. He was so arrogant that he didn't believe there could be strong people besides them. And the Kim Doyul he despised was now arriving at one of their bases. After throwing pool balls to knock out everyone, Kim Doyul looked at Stone Street School's fourth-ranked Kwon Jung-soo. "Do you want to die or live? If you don't want to die, listen carefully from now on. First, organize all the illegal evidence from your student-targeted new entertainment websites, along with the related illegal industry chains and personnel. Then send it to the app I just added. Second, go tell your boss Wang Guoyi that I'm giving him a few days to come to Seokmun School and kneel before us. If your boss kneels and surrenders to our boss, there won't be any bloodshed." Hearing this, the rich kid frowned and swallowed hard, putting his hand on Kim Doyul's shoulder with forced calm, indicating he had something to say. As soon as he turned around, he frantically questioned Kim Doyul, "Why call Wang Guoyi to Seokmun School? Wang Guoyi is a demonic existence. We don't even have the qualifications to stab him in the back secretly." But Kim Doyul said he wanted to have a group fight. Previously defeating one guy only to have another appear was too troublesome. This time he wanted to deal with Stone Street School all at once. Hearing this, the rich kid was about to go crazy with fear. "Do you know how many people Stone Street School has? We'll all die." Kim Doyul told him not to worry, as this absolutely wouldn't happen. Then he warned Kwon Jung-soo again not to forget what he just ordered. But at this moment, Kwon Jung-soo couldn't help but laugh. It was the first time someone dared to propose a direct duel with their captain. At this time, in a warehouse in another city, a group of people were being mercilessly slaughtered like lambs by a madman. But just as he was proud of his handiwork, an enormously huge fist suddenly struck from behind. With just one move, half his cheek was smashed. Then he fell to the ground and instantly passed out. The man with such terrifying power was one of the 12 national leaders, Stone Street School's boss, Wang Guoyi.